Hello and welcome to Nerd Conquest Coalition. I'm Nate, and behind the camera, as always, is Vern. Say hi, Vern.
Havarti's my favorite cheese.
So
Something.
today I would like to talk about Sega. Sega has recently gone and put out a survey for its customers to try and make their games better, their company better, just basically, a cry for help. And I'm glad this is actually a good thing because if the company actually listens to its fans, they can get a lot of feedback that will be positive. Because despite the Sonic games that have come out recently and some of the other stuff like the Golden Axe that they did not too long ago, a couple years ago, and the fact that they did Typing of the Dead. Okay, so Sega hasn't done the best lately, but people still love Sega because they were around when Nintendo was around, and people grew up with that, and they remember how great they can be. Even from the Dreamcast days, which was their final days, they had some fantastic games. That's where we got Shenmue from, and look how much of a Kickstarter Part 3 of that got. So, I'm really happy that they're going and doing a survey like that, and I do hope that they take the fans, info to heart. That will make it a lot easier to make a game that might actually be good. But there is a little problem with that. The survey didn't cover the real heart of the matter of what makes a game good or not. See, they asked us what games they want. And of course, I was like, oh, Skies of Arcadia, Streets of Rage, give us another Yakuza because freaking I can always use more Yakuza. Choo Choo Rocket, I'd love to see another one of that. But when you think about what they've done lately, what they've done with a franchise that they've had control of for how long now, like Sonic, if you take into account the things they do and you try to apply that to a game that you love, do you really want them to bring back Streets of Rage or Skies of Arcadia or any of that? They have to take into account what makes that game great in the first place. And that wasn't a survey question. So hopefully, maybe they'll actually see this and kind of take this information to heart. See, the thing that makes these old games fantastic is that they had heart. They had effort put into them that was by people who actually cared about the product when they put it out. It wasn't just a cash grab. It wasn't just trying to revive an idea because for sake of trying to cash in on that old idea, Sonic. Yeah, I don't want to bring up Sonic too much. I mean, it's a terrible thing, but they can do some good. Valkyria Chronicles, that was excellent. They actually had three of them, and two of them weren't as widespread. The first one was out in the States and is out on PC now, but Valkyria Chronicles 2 was on the PSP, and it's not even downloadable now. They actually took it off of the PlayStation Marketplace, even though that's about to close down. It's neither here nor there. Valkyria Chronicles 3 never made it stateside, and that also includes some other stuff that they haven't brought over stateside, like Sakura Wars. So they can do good. So they're not totally gone. They're not completely Sonic. But if you're going to bring back Streets of Rage, you can't just go and do like they did with that Final Fight. You know what? I can't even call it a sequel because it was just so far removed from the actual Final Fight games. That was the one that was on, I think, PlayStation, and it basically had Cody's brother, and it was just an awful train wreck of a game. But I don't want to see Streets of Rage go that route. If you want to bring it back as a almost indie style brawler, something like Scott Pilgrim versus the World, or not as cartoony, but with Streets of Rage graphics, but still that heart. Remember the Ninja Turtles beat 'em up game, Turtles in Time? That's a fun beat 'em up. Someone else agrees with me. You can be verbal about it. It's okay to proclaim your love of Ninja Turtles. So, these kind of things, if you go and put heart and effort into it, it will make it great. Yakuza games, you can tell a lot of the care put into the Yakuza games are from people that worked on the Shenmue series. It's basically a spiritual successor to the thing. Jet Set Radio has seen a whole bunch of re-releases, and I heard something about them wanting to bring that back. If you keep the tone and you keep the music, you pretty much have a recipe for a good game no matter what else you do there. Make some challenging platformings on the rollerblades, make some goofy, crazy story that no one can really understand because I mean, I believe by the last boss you were fighting on a giant record. I don't know. That one's, it's kind of like a drug-induced trip. You don't remember much about that. Anyway, Crazy Taxi. That didn't turn out too well when they started to spin off that. So probably don't want to bring that one back. But Skies of Arcadia, just re-released the game. Just flat out put it on, I don't know, PlayStation 4 or Wii U or whatever. No, did they put it on Wii U? I don't remember. But put it on PlayStation 4, a platform I might actually play. That's right, I don't like Nintendo very much. So, also, when you go and make a Skies of Arcadia 2, have the people that are making that game play through the first one, like, twice, so they understand it. Because the characters, the base building, the whole world that they made, that's what made that game great. The grinding battles that were just really overly long but not challenging, the backtracking that you had to do, there was a lot of stuff that were misses in that game, but because the characters and the storyline and the heart of the game was so good, it became a classic to anyone who played it. Other games like Space Channel 5 are simplistic, easy to do rhythm games, but because they had so much personality, they became hits. Ooh La La is still a well-known game character that if you tell any gamer that's been around for that long, they'll know who you're talking about. So if you want to remake that, it would seem to be pretty easy. But if you don't follow the soul of the game, it's not going to turn out right. Now, there are a bunch of the JRPGs that they have there, and I think they pretty much keep the same spirit on there, and I don't know if it's because maybe they use some sub-studio that specializes in that while they go and give their platformers to another part of their studio. Not exactly sure how vast Sega is, but they seem to be okay. The only problem is they don't bring them over to the west side. Now, here's the thing. It's a translation cost, that's there, but I believe you could probably make that up if you actually put the effort forth. So basically what I'm trying to tell Sega is that if they want a game to actually do well, don't just make another game and then, put it out willy-nilly. Put out the game with the same kind of care that you originally had for it. If you want to bring your company back from the brink, if you want to make it a great company, once again, just remember, care about your games. If you care about them, they will sell, because you have the fan base. That's all there is to it. You didn't need the whole questionnaire that you gave, except for the fact of what game you should try to put that care into next. That's the only thing you should be using that for. And, look at the people who have gone and put these, filled out these questionnaires. Look at what they had to say, and if you see one that actually, makes good points, you ask for their contact information at the end, contact them. Have them elaborate. Maybe you'll get a little bit more insight. Anywho, that's it for Nerd Conquest Coalition. I'm Nate, and behind the camera as always has been Vern. Say bye, Vern.
Not a fan of Swiss.
Too cheesy. Anywho, be nerd, be proud.